We grow up believing the Bible arrived fully formed, leather-bound, gold-edged, complete. A book untouched by time, but that's not how history works. The Bible didn't fall from the sky. It passed through human, hand-styled hands, trembling hands, faithful hands copying words by candlelight, knowing that a single mistake could change meaning forever. And somewhere along that journey, some things didn't make it through. Not burned, not erased in secret, but quietly left behind. Left behind. To understand this, we have to travel back not to churches but to deserts. In 1947, a shepherd boy threw a stone into a cave near the Dead Sea. He heard pottery shatter. What he found would shake biblical scholarship forever. Scrolls older than anything we had, nearly 1,000 years older than most biblical manuscripts. And what they revealed was both comforting and unsettling. The core message of Scripture was stable, but the details, the edges, they told a story of variation. Some verses were missing. Some appeared later. Some books were never there at all. Take the Gospel of Mark, the earliest gospel ever written. If you open most modern Bibles, Mark ends with resurrection appearances. Jesus speaks. He ascends. The story resolves, but the oldest manuscripts stop suddenly. No risen Jesus. No closure. Just women at an empty tomb. Afraid. And silent. That's Italiano. Scholars believe the original ending may have been lost or never written. Later scribes, uncomfortable with such an abrupt ending, added verses to complete the story, not to deceive, but to comfort. Because silence is terrifying, and faith often struggles with unanswered endings. Then there's a story nearly everyone knows. A woman dragged before Jesus, accused, exposed, condemned. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. It's one of the most quoted moments in all of Christianity, yet it's missing from the earliest manuscripts of John, missing from early church commentaries, missing for centuries. Many scholars believe it was a true story about Jesus preserved orality, powerful to forget, too human to ignore. Eventually, scribes wrote it into the margins, then into the text. It survived, not because it was official, but because people refused to let it die. And then there are the books you've never read in church. The Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, the Shepherd of Hermas. Early Christians loved them, quoted them. Some believed they were inspired. One is even referenced directly in the New Testament. But when church leaders gathered to decide what belonged in Scripture, hard choices had to be made. Which texts were authoritative, which aligned with apostolic teaching, which could be trusted across languages, regions, and generations. This wasn't a secret meeting in a dark room. It was a centuries-long struggle. Believers arguing, praying, disagreeing. Some books were excluded not because they were false, but because they were unclear, or regional, or too difficult to interpret responsibly. And yes, sometimes theology played a role. Power always does. When Christianity moved from persecuted faith to state religion, unity became survival. A single canon meant a single message. Diversia became dangerous. So some texts stayed outside the fence. Not destroyed, just not chosen. And that might be the hardest truth of all. Because it means Scripture was shaped not only by God, but by history, by language, by empire, by fear of division, by the limits of human understanding. Yet here's the twist no one expects. Despite all of this, despite missing verses, debated endings, excluded books, the central message remains untouched. Love God. Love your neighbor. Care for the poor. Forgive your enemies. Choose mercy over power. No removed text changes that. If anything, the process makes the Bible more remarkable, not less. Because it survived humanity. It survived politics. It survived copying errors. It survived disagreement. And it still speaks. So when someone says, the Bible was edited, The real question isn't whether that's true. It's whether faith can survive honesty. Because maybe scripture isn't weaker for having a history. Maybe it's stronger. And maybe the voices that didn't make the final cut still whisper not to undermine belief, but to remind us that faith has always been a journey, not a document.